Choip, choip, choip. Choip, choip, choip.
Excuse me, this turnip's bruised. Can I at least get a discount? This root vegetable with the octoforp on its forehead is our protagonist, Turnip Boy. And because of the mayor's exorbitant tax scheme, he loses his greenhouse and must now be the mayor's personal assistant, running dangerous errands that justify the action. Across this world of fruit and veg, uncovering its secrets. Well, not secret really. You do have to explore, but only to find main quest elements. There are optional papers to find though, but they're not particularly hard to find. They're located in the same areas, usually in plain sight. There are side quests that reward you hats to wear, but once again not that hard. It's more a memory challenge really. Remember to take this thing to them. Nothing too taxing. Mild punishment. Just like most of the game. You can use your trusty watering can to find hard fruit, and in that act of semi-cannibalism, he's veg, they're fruit, it's not as bad. You can gain more health, although maybe it's not that necessary. The average enemy is kind of weak and slow, and you probably will only have struggles during boss battles. Because your dodge is a trip, and because of the size of the bosses, it's quite hard to avoid damage. So hammer them as much as you can, regardless of the hit. And this is the Infinite Train mode. It's a post-game add-on that's just here to give extra combat. Usually it's much easier than this, so the combat is very simple, as is the puzzle solving. Trial and error will get you through. So it's not a challenging game, but it does not outstay its welcome because it's short. It took me like 3 hours to complete the game and play a bit of that Infinite Train mode, optional for extra hats it seems. Train conductor, fighter, haberdasher, onion rings before, that's a lovely resume. I didn't finish this mode, but it's there and offers a more significant combat challenge, although I'm not sure that this combat is fun enough to really put it to the test in spite of the additions. I mean, it's not exactly like Turnip Boy's shovel connects with a satisfying funk. And there are no distractions anymore at this point. A mode that puts a focus on the combat of a game where the combat's fine. So this is here if you want it. But I did find out that it works well as an in-between game, as I played it for a bunch of different times while figuring out the recording settings for recording Warhorse tests. But I highly doubt I would have gone that deep into it right after I completed the game. It's just the game was done, and me playing around with this for cosmetics made me feel a tad antsy. But at least visually it looks great. During conversations you see hand-drawn images of the characters, whose design is quite cute. Plus even the most grumpy among them are cheery enough to sway. Maybe the residents of Veggieville are just relieved to finally have legs. And the general pixel art is quite cute as well. The color palette is quite warm and inviting. A great deal of it is nice and sunny, and it's quite earthy too, which makes sense, it's produce world. But when you combine these two approaches, the cartoony overlays with the pixel art, it may feel a tad out of place. I mean, the characters actually are fine, it's more these papers. Administrative, very down to business font, plus that red stamp. But arguably that's me splitting hairs. The music is great, but it's all over the shop. Industrious adventure music. Kind of sweet. Uniquely complex takes on it. And it even has an area where it plays hip-hop. Weird instances where it seems to try and get serious. At least for a moment. Which is strange because it feels too silly to feel serious really. If not for the gags, the fact that Turnip Boy is stoically upbeat, the opposite of this, downbeat, and never loses that smile, that silent smile. He shows no emotion. It's hard to tell whether he's a revolutionary firebrand, fighting against the status quo, or he simply likes to tear up paper. He tears up a lot, almost reminds me of a stereotypic infant, and it's quite amusing to see the veg's reaction reaction to you tearing up their papyrus gifts, and there are other funny moments, or close enough that it makes this short game funny, or at least amusing, at least when you account for the smirks per minute, and is surprisingly lacking in referential humor, at least unadulterated references. Some of the references at least have a nice fun spin to them, if maybe a small one. It's just a fun thing with a ridiculous story. The game is cheap on Steam, 105 Rand full price, 26 Rand 25 cents on sale, but naturally due to its short length, it doesn't fare particularly well, as that's 8 Rand 75 per hour of gameplay, which is quite bad. Fortunately, I claimed it while it was free. Maybe you'll be able to get a bit more out of it through train play, but once again remember, not everyone will do that. But to download, it is rather small, as it takes up 633.47 megabytes on the hard drive. Not the smallest when you consider the short length, but still quite small. And it works very well on the Warhorse. Usually you'll get between 59 and 61 frames per second walking and talking. May have momentary dips when entering new areas, like dipping to 43 or 48 frames per second when entering a cave or something. There may be the rare shovel hit dip, more like a jolt to 19 FPS, but that's quite rare. It's very playable on the Warhorse. And stereotypically, it's kid-friendly. I can't really remember anything objectionable in it. The game has good pixel art visuals, very sunny in disposition, nice thick-lined cartoony produce, cute produce pals, even if those two styles can clash when displayed next to one another, particularly when the documents come out. It has great music, complex and unique compositions, great takes on adventure music, but it does take some strange thematic turns, because it's not just epic, it's sweet at other times, and it even has an area where it plays hip-hop and another where it goes downright serious. It's an amusing, short, compact jaunt with a ridiculous plot. It's too short to fault the story, really, if the turns towards serious go nowhere and add nothing. Really, a creepy ghost tangent? Plus it's lovely to see Turnip Boy tear up papers with his unchanging deadpan face, almost as though he's a cat indifferently pawing a vase. And that almost qualifies as poetry. On the maybe side, it has very simplistic combat, exploration and puzzling. If you want to be harsh, it's almost as though it's there just to add some interactivity, so it wouldn't just be a comedic short. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. As mentioned, it's short and won't outstay its welcome probably, and some of it will actually feel rewarding, just don't expect something substantial. It's a bite-sized thing. Come on, play it and see Turnip Boy be oblivious to his family's wealth. He was kicked out of a greenhouse, whereas most of his neighbors can't afford a roof over their heads.
Choip, choip, choip. Choip, choip, choip.